with Beard! Hey, podcast kittens! It's Cathy Cat and...
Ladybeard coming at you with another... What's an adjective I haven't used?
Fantastic.
Preposterous!
Preposterous!
Storming on!
Woo!
Cat
With Beard!
We're back again with Henry Thurlow. Good to see you, sir.
Henry,
Hello.
thank you for
Nice
coming
to
back.
see you again.
Nice to see
Hey,
you
hey,
again. It's
hey.
very pleasant to talk with Henry. I have still so many questions.
Yes.
On and off and everywhere.
Animator, professional animatoring in Japan. Animatoring is not a word.
No, not animatoring, but what? Henry, what is your day in the life? Tell us a day in the life of Henry. Day in the life of an animator. How is it now? And how was it at the worst of times? I want to have a comparison
At the
of
beginning.
The
that.
best of times, the worst of times.
I think that when you start as an in-between animator or Dogamon, there's a literal never-ending supply of work. You get sequences already laid out and prepared by other people, and there's so many productions in Japan that there's just never-endingly a giant stack somewhere in the room. So the second you finish something, there is 100 more sequences somewhere else, and so it'll never end. Like you stay for as many hours as either is required, or you know, I guess you try to match what the other people are doing. Generally, that's how it works, kind of in Japan.
Yeah,
also,
you
like
kinda
if
look out
everyone
for the people
around you is
around
not
you.
leaving at 5 p.m., then you don't either. If everyone's still not leaving at 8 p.m., you still, you know. But now I would say, once you move up to key animation. And I've done some storyboarding and things like that too. So when you move up to some of the other positions, you can kind of talk to the studios about how much you want to take. So like I might say, okay, here's the next episode I'm working on. They want me to do 20 sequences. I can look at it and be like, actually, I can take 25 because I think these are kind of simple. Or I can be like, look, I really want to give my all to these 15. These 5 right here, I think you should pass to someone else, because the schedule that this needs to be done by is whatever it is, 2 weeks from today, right? So in 2 weeks, can I finish all of these? Yes, I can, but they'll only be at this quality level.
Right.
If I take 5, they'll be at this quality level. But like, what's the good balance for me? And then sometimes you take too much, but you can't back out of it. So that just means you have 2 weeks of realizing, I have to work massive amounts of hours because I made the promise. It was kind of on me because I should have said I'm not going to do that much. On the flip side, sometimes you take just the right amount to be able to have not super long days and kind of go home. So it's a little bit more up to you what you're willing to take on per episode. That's my experience.
I
at
have a
least.
question.
Yeah.
What do you do if you injure your hand?
Well, obviously that would be like a work related or like an accident. You know, like people going to work can have a car accident or something like so. Similarly, if suddenly an artist is incapacitated or absolutely for one reason or another can't work on it, then the production managers, the seisakushinko in the studio, are super important part of the anime production. I think a lot of people, rightfully so, follow the directors and the animators and stuff like that online, but understand the production managers are essential because that moment would fall to them, and a lot of moments fall to them, which is like, so we thought these 10 sequences already had an animator, and a good one at that, let's just say, but all of a sudden, after only handing in 3 sequences, they seem to be incapacitated. It doesn't look like they'll realistically in the timeline be able to get the remaining ones out. What do? Okay, production manager jumps in to make decisions, and do we wait for that person? Does the schedule allow that? Do I need to find another person by the end of the day? Whatever is necessary to finish the episode on time. Because one way or another, when it's air day, like
Of course,
it's
it's
air.
going.
It needs
It's
to be
air.
there,
Right?
yeah.
What would
Hold on. So coming back to the first question of what is the day in the life? So nowadays, when do you get up? How many hours? Like on average, I know that's not easy because you have deadlines and stuff. But what is like an average day for you in your current position?
It's really hard. I wish I could answer it like clear, just to give especially upcoming animators a clear kind of vision. It really honestly is. I just have to finish it by a date. And what I mean by that is my day-to-day is actually radically different.
Oh, right, really?
Okay.
Radically different. So there might, like, let's say, in any given 2-week period, let's say, okay, I'm going to take work on Monday morning and then I'll work. But then Monday morning, actually, some of the storyboards aren't ready. Can we do it Tuesday evening? Okay, sure. All of a sudden, I have like no work for a day and a half. Henry, you can just stay home. All of a sudden, my weekend's long. But then the next day, I come in, I take the work. It's actually kind of heavier than I thought it would be, but I already promised it. Okay, that's fine. But you know what? Let me just work a normal 8-hour day for the rest of the week. And then the rest of the week, I do that. So that week was fairly easy. 3 8-hour work days and 2 days that barely work at all, right? But oh no. Like now I have like 2 weeks worth of work still left and only 1 week to the deadline. So that next week is like, now I'm working 10-hour days, 12-hour days, whatever, right? And maybe I time it out like pretty good. Like, okay, I'm going to balance it so that it's 9-hour days every day. And I think that's still go. Oh no, I'm down in the last 48 hours and I realize I have, way more than that worth of work to do. These two days are going to be super, super rough. But it's just, I mean,
up and it's down.
It's up and down, up and down, up and down. But it's better than when I first got into the industry because when you get in as a Dogemon, it's just nonstop 24/7.
Right.
There's a million things to do. There's a million things to do. There's a million things to do. Now it's at least I get that right. At least I'm like, this is my goal for the next 2 weeks or the next month or whatever, however much work I take for that deadline, and then it's up to me to balance my schedule accordingly. Generally speaking, I mean, it's still a lot of hours though. If you want to earn money in the industry, you got to do a lot of hours. 8-hour work days, 5 days a week, probably not what you're going to get as an animator. Yeah, right. I would think more normally assume the number 10 or so, 10 hours a day would be a nice kind of balance. If you're doing 10 hours a day, but never really going over that, I think that's pretty nice. You never have those killer 17-hour days or anything. So I think that's kind of my goal. Like my goal is like, if I can stay on track to hand everything in and just generally do 10-hour days with like maybe an occasional Saturday, like once every couple months, I feel like I'm doing a good job. Of course, it never works out that way, and it ends up getting crazy at some point.
Is that 10-hour day 6 days a week, or is that 10-hour day 7 days a week?
No, I would say 5 or 6.
Okay, that's not bad.
But again, there's probably animators out there going, "What is Henry talking about? I work 17-hour days every single day, 7 days a week." And I would say, well, you probably took too many cuts. like that. I mean, you probably took a bit too many sequences if you're killing yourself to that degree. Yeah.
Question. I'm sure this will depend on studios
cuts is
and
what
stuff.
we call individual sequences.
Oh, I see. Okay,
you probably took too many animation sequences.
Okay. So if you take on if you take too many animation sequences, you have to work harder, but you also get more money, right? So if say you work an average 10 hours for 5 days a week, does that finally pay the bills?
But see, that is where I can't ever give an answer. And that's why working in any entertainment and any art, in any art at all, is very difficult because I can't answer that question for you. Because how good are you and how fast are you? It's different for everyone. That's like, again, to the like Olympic athlete like metaphor. It's like how high do I need to jump to win the gold? I don't know. How high did the silver person jump? Like that is good. So are you super fast? Can you finish 5 sequences, 5 cuts a day? If you can, then you'll probably earn just fine money working 8 hours a day, 5 days a week. But I mean, I don't finish 5 sequences a day. I guess it depends. But if I'm doing an action sequence or something really nice, it might take me a whole week to do 1 or 2 if they're really nice. And so you want to balance taking some simple stuff with taking some hard stuff. You want to be proud of your work, but you don't want to work 3 months on one and not earn any money. So it's all about your own balance, though. So how do you make money? I mean, you could theoretically, as a key animator, let's say, you could earn probably quite a lot of money by doing all very simple sequences. If you ask, you can probably even find work that way. Like say, I'm not for any action sequence, but if there's a character that's like not moving, but just the mouth is flapping, and then maybe occasionally a blink or a head turn like this, give me 150 of those. So I just have like 150 drawings basically, and I'm done. They're barely even moving. But I want to lay out all those sequences. That person could probably earn quite good money. But at the end of the month, what does your portfolio look like? You can't go out there and
So
be
your
like
options for promotion are probably limited. Yeah.
well, look, but I don't want to judge either, because if someone likes that, if someone really loves doing that, then that's perfect for them, right? And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. Those still sequences need to be done one way or another.
Yes.
So someone passionately doing those, I would love to actually have them on my team. That being said, most people out there, myself included, probably want to show off and stretch your animation muscles, right? And be like, look at how amazing my sequence is. I'm so proud of myself, right? Well, it might take me 3 weeks to make some amazing sequence that I'm super proud of, but then I didn't earn much money with it. So you need to yourself decide what you want to take, what you can take. At the same time, there are probably amazing people in the world that can do my 3 weeks sequence in 2 days. And so in their case, they'll earn lots of more money than me and do more amazing things than me, because that's where their skill level is at. So where is your skill level at, and how fast are you? It's going to change. That answer is going to change for literally every single person in the world.
Go ahead.
So I have a senpai, she does anime as well. And I remember watching an anime, and just for a moment I got like a text on my phone, and she was like, she stopped the image instantly, because she knows how every second in anime is so much blood and passion of an animator. So what are your shokugyo they call it, like occupational hazards of like your pet peeves if you work in anime, of like, no, you need to watch this, or no, you need to look out for this, or don't, skip the intro or something like that.
As an anime fan, or
as an animator?
As an animator, like in the production process, a pet peeve of mine, like something that doesn't get produced correctly, or like something that annoys me.
That too. Like any little things. Now that you work in the industry, do you look at anime differently? Let's start with that.
100%. Yeah, I can almost. This is almost a little depressing, but I can almost never watch anything and be a fan of it anymore. Yeah, because I understand, which is right, because like my whole life was being an anime fan, essentially. That I loved it so much I wanted to move to Japan and do it. And yet now I'm rendered almost incapable of ever becoming a fan of anything to the level that I was, in college and after. Only the things that have been around since then can I still. Like Berserk is the manga. I always followed that. And like whenever there was ever new Berserk, and even now, that it's continued, thank goodness, for those who know. Whenever I read that, I can still view it as a fan and be like, oh, this character's doing this, that, because my brain mentally has already like had that emotional attachment to those characters for so long. One Piece is another one, funny enough. So I am actually part of one of the very, very few remaining series that I am passionately, emotionally attached to, right? That being said, all the new stuff I watch, almost everything comes out. I can't be like, oh, that character's so cool and that character's a loser and that, right? I can't have like that kind of, because I'm looking at it and I'm like, bad in-betweens, not good direction there. Like crossed the fourth wall in that storyboards. Even the good stuff though, rather than really get into it as a fan, I'd be more like, oh, perfect, that camera move to that camera move. They were thinking. But like I see it more like that than as a fan now. Some series can break through. Recently, Made in Abyss, I think, is a really good one. And that has been so good, I think, that it crossed over, and I can call myself a fan, but very few things do that nowadays.
Do you ever watch an anime and you're like, oh, this looks like it took a long time? Do you ever have thoughts like that?
For sure. Yeah. When you see detailed background animation, like there's camera tricks that's usually used in Japanese anime and all animation where like the background will slide in different ways, and it looks beautiful and is good enough like that if that's what the scene calls for. But sometimes the actual background itself turns into an animated cell layer essentially, and like and it moves, meaning that like it's not a background. They drew the background on an animation layer and drew it 150 times or something like that. Oof. Whenever that happens, even if it happens for only just a brief moment, I go,
really? That's rough.
Very well done.
Really?
Well done. Because people who aren't familiar with the production process, you don't even realize how amazing it is. And yet that was the difference between like 2 background paintings, like 2 layers of background painting, let's say, and everyone pulling all-nighters for 3 straight weeks.
Yeah.
To you, it almost seems like nothing, but to me, I'm like, you don't even know what they did for you in this sequence, you know?
Yeah.
That's why sometimes when you watch an anime, don't look away and check your messages. Actually, stay and watch that. Someone's been 3 weeks working on that little scene that you might have missed.
Can you talk us through the process? Is there a camera that points down at the table and then frames get moved through? What's the...
Used to be. I mean, back in the animation cell days when they actually painted on celluloids and photographed. Well, I don't know if it's super obvious. That doesn't exist anymore. It's all computer now. At the beginning, you know, it's always rocky when you change, like from one technology to another. So, like early digital animation, I always felt like, oh, the stuff done on animation cells look so much better. The colors are too bright and it's too computery when they did. I mean, all the early 2000s stuff, even series that I like, I look at it and some of the compositing effects, I say, you know, oh, I wish it was done on animation cells. It would have just had that extra impact.
Yeah, the start was a bit wonky, to be honest. You could tell when it was computer animation. It just didn't look as nice.
But now it's totally fine. Like the technology is great. I wouldn't... As much as I love animation cells, it doesn't make sense to go back now. The compositing that you can do on the computer and everything is fantastic. So, yeah.
So when you're drawing like on a tablet or something? Because you got to draw on paper.
Well, so
anymore, right?
everyone contributes however they want in Japanese anime. In the Western jobs, the studio will determine one software usually, in my experience, and basically be like, can you use this software? If not, then you can't take this freelance job. If you can, you can, then you're specifically qualified to take this job.
I see.
But here, it's like we just need images of the layouts and the keyframes that you've drawn. So whether you draw them on paper, which some Japanese animators do, whether you use Toon Boom's Harmony software, Clip Studio, TV Paint, Flash, now called Adobe Animate. Anyone can use anything they want, so long as the final delivery is those JPEG or Targa images the way they need to be.
So, compared like Western and Japanese animation, as long as you have it in the end, in the right file format and look, it's fine. While Western companies, it's more, it has to be this program.
Because the Western companies, like, the file is the actual animation. Like, they plan on rendering it out from that software, and then there's your sequence. Maybe they'll bring it into After Effects or something and add more compositing to it. But generally, like, you're working on your sequence right there. Whereas in Japanese anime, you are building up a collection of background layouts and character key art. And then they will all be collected later on by the shiage and satsui people, the like ink and paint and compositing people. Oh, wow. So yeah, that's what I meant in the last episode. I meant like you have to understand the process. A Western animator who's even amazing, if you don't understand the process and why we're asking for the types of files we're asking for, it's not that you're not qualified to animate on the show, because obviously you're an amazing animator, but there will be massive problems.
Yes.
While
so you don't get where you fit in.
Yeah. So just understand the process. To go into that here would be an hour.
I don't understand the
explanation,
process.
But
a bunch of words.
But for those listening who are interested in the process, please do your due diligence and understand everything I'm saying here, because to take work from the anime industry, you do want to understand what I'm talking about now.
So know your technical knowledge. What are they? Since you mentioned other Western countries and Japanese animation, what are like the big differences between working in the West on animations and working in Japan on animations? Apart from one of them looking more cartoony.
Every country's a little different. I know that France has like a thriving animation industry from my limited understanding.
Oh, wow.
So I don't want to speak for every Western country at all by any means. And there's like Cartoon Saloon in Ireland who makes really cool stuff. And I don't know what their process is. In my experience, there's very little like animation work. Remember how I said last time that like most of the jobs are advertisement and things like that? That's because like some shows that you think, oh, this is American animators. Family Guy, The Simpsons, SpongeBob SquarePants. There's no American animators. You thought American animators were making that? Well, I have terrible news for you. There's no animation jobs for those.
What?
Really?
That's right.
Who does it?
The writing and potentially the story. I mean, I'm not behind the scenes on any of those particular productions, so I don't know the exact process. However, the general process in the West is the writing is all done there, the storyboards are done there, and the storyboards are done very specifically. In Japan, the storyboards might be scribbles, and then during the production meeting, the episode director will be like, now what we're going for here is this when you animate it. Right. Whereas in the West, it'll be, in America at least, it'll be like the storyboards are actually every freaking key frame drawn really good of the whole Family Guy episode or whatever series it is. And then that gets sent to India or Korea or somewhere where like the storyboards are so clean already that it's super clear where just to exactly put the characters and when to lift their hand and things like that. And so yeah, again, when I was there, I was lucky enough to work on Supergel. Supergel actually was animated in Brooklyn, and there was, but my understanding, there was even a battle for that, because generally speaking, it's not actually animated in the States. So the handful of shows that are really rare, and you're very lucky to be a part of that. Otherwise, you're probably doing storyboards or cleaning up storyboards that will then get shipped overseas to animators in other countries.
So America does outsource a lot to like places where it might be cheaper to animate it instead of actually paying their animators and nurturing that economy. That sounds a bit harsh, but it seems like
for all intents and purposes, that's generally it. But also it's been they haven't done it for so many years. I don't even know if they, like, a lot of studios even have the setup to do it. I don't know if they have all the Cintiqs all lined up so that as many animators as is necessary would actually be able to even do it. Yeah, right. Like, they need to rethink their entire production process to really get all those animator jobs.
It's like
back
reshoring manufacturing. It's a whole expedition.
Yeah. Wow. Okay, I did not know that. I'm glad I asked that question, though. Bring some hard truths here.
There's a whole lot of hard truths all around in art, probably fields everywhere.
Do you have a particular ultimate career goal that you're working towards? Do you want to open your own studio or anything along those lines?
I mean, for me, it's always like the projects. The projects are what's super important to me. So like, I guess I have ideas in my head that like the ultimate dream goal would be I have unlimited funding to make my own film, right? Henry Thurlow has become a unique personality or talent or something like that. If he needs $50 million or $100 million, like whatever, we want to produce the next Henry Thurlow production, and then I could storyboard, conceptualize, write, introduce my own team of writers that I want for the purpose that I want, et cetera, et cetera. Like, so the end goal is like, I'm like a Quentin Tarantino type of anime where it's just like everyone's looking forward to the next Henry Thurlow, whatever he decides it's going to be.
Well, luckily the cat with beard watchers are all millionaires, who wish to contribute to the Thurlow productions.
Thurlow productions.
For now, though, I really feel like I'm learning a lot on this One Piece staff, and I do love One Piece. My personal, more realistic like goals in the future are, if it works out, stick with One Piece all the way to the end, because One Piece has a handful of years left, but not a ton. I don't think it seems like it's headed towards its climax in the manga. So stick with One Piece, be a part of this team, make it the best series it can be, move up in the ranks in One Piece even, and then after One Piece, I don't know, but I love, Vampire Hunter D and all those things in the past. Not many films like that are produced anymore. There isn't when's the last Vampire Hunter D Bloodlust type anime movie come out? I mean, Red Line came out a bunch of years back. That was super detailed. But they're very few and far between. Perhaps in the future, being a part of one of those rare productions, though, where it's like a R-rated feature film, but that's outrageously high quality, being even just one of the team members of that. I mean, there's still a lot of little goals and dreams that I have. I want to be part of that series, that movie, that type of series, that type of movie. And so I'll never want for dreams, I don't think, in this industry.
Man of inspiration.
Yeah, since you mentioned One Piece, break the truths, if that is possible, to make one episode of an anime, on average. How many people work on that? How much time does it take? Do people shake it out of their sleeves in 2 weeks? Or is it actually something that a lot of people work together? What is like an average episode? And if you can't say it about One Piece, what is like the average amount for an episode?
I'll just say just in general. In general, I mean, it's so much. I actually did a vlog series when I was at my previous company, Derek Stagio. If you Google that, Derek Stagio vlog, like we went, me and Arthel, the studio owner, we went topic by topic for like 50 weeks in a row. And like one of the weeks was this, and we just sat and we just explained it. And I'm having flashbacks of that now because I don't want my answer to be too long. When I even just say the entire list of people that are in it, you'll get a feeling of like how many people are necessary to bring an anime to to fruition. So like, let's even just ignore producers and signing deals and all that aside. Although obviously there's people involved in that too. There's the writer of the episode. Then there's at least one storyboard artist. There's the episode director, the enshutsu. There's an assistant director. There's certainly one, if not multiple, production managers. That team right there. And then, of course, there's a chief animation director, a bunch of animation directors, or at least one other one, the art director who's in charge of all the background art.
Oh gosh, it's already.
But listen, but
like,
no. But by the way, I only just said the main team before then work's actually passed out. Because then you find tons of key animators, tons of background artists, tons of compositors and ink and paint people, shiage, satsue, genga, doga, ni-genga, which is secondary key animation for in-between phases for people who can't finish their own sequences. And then there's, compositors later on. There's editors, obviously. So it's just it takes a full army to make something like this.
It's like when you watch the credits of the movie,
man,
that army of
yes,
people.
And in anime, and probably not just anime, in those two, as long as those are, sometimes you just see a studio name, and that's all. Like, this studio helped out with that, but there might be 80 names in there also, right? And so there are so many people involved, you know?
Wow. One episode.
I reckon speaking of episodes, I reckon we're getting to the end of this episode. Do you have more things you want to talk about before we get out of here?
Oh man, what is your goal from here? I think you asked that a little bit, but what would be like your next? So what is your next career step?
Because Toei is a pretty flippin' big deal. So
Stay tuned.
Ladies and gentlemen, you need to head to the internet, add Henry Thurlow. You need to press follow and like and clickety-click so you know what happens next.
I'll say big things coming soon.
I'll look at this.
So keep an eye on what I'm making, and you'll be pleasantly surprised in the upcoming.
So, for example, if you check out Henry Thurlow's Twitter, you'll be able to see some of the animations he has done. So there is actually, I've checked your Twitter. There's like, this is the animation I did recently, so you can actually see what he has done. You can actually look at his art as well. So.
Henry Thurlow, this has been a pleasure. So at Henry Thurlow on the internet, is that correct?
Yep, just Google my name, Henry Thurlow. I'm on Twitter, Instagram.
Just spell Thurlow for us.
Thurlow.
Happy days. Thank you for coming in, sir. It's
Thanks
wonderful
for having
to meet
me.
you.
This was
Hell
excellent.
yeah.
It's really good to chat with you, Ladybeard.
At Ladybeard _Japan on the internet. And of course my group, Babybeard. That's Babybeard _Japan. Cathy Cat.
You can find me, Cathy Cat _TV, on Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, all the shenanigans. Also Japan Railway Journal, where I work for NHK World, which is broadcasted internationally, and where we talk about the wonderful things about Japanese railways. But most important, if you're listening to us right now, you would like to see us, then please go to the YouTube and type in Cat with Beard from Japan, and you should be able to see all three of us. We all look amazing today, so be able to actually check us out in real life. Find us on YouTube and also check out our Twitter, Cat with Beard. Feel free to tweet at us if you have any questions, any feedback, anything at all, or if you just want to say, what a lovely dress today, Ladybeard.
You can welcome to say that. I will say that's Cathy Cat. What a lovely dress today, Cathy Cat.
Thank you so much. I themed this one as Wano Kuni. Because right now, One Piece is set in a Japanese type inspired world right now. So I thought I'd go with the theme here. Henry, thank you so much for coming.
Thank you, Henry. Great to meet you, mate.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you. Okay. And all of you guys, we'll see you soon.
On
Cat with Beard! Bye!